Good morning, guys. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to First Things First. I'm your host, Melissa Sewell, and this morning we're going to be talking about one of the reasons that I did my dopamine detox, and it has to do with living in the real world, being present, and this is related to how much we indulge in social media content. I just want to start off by saying social media is a construct, and we're working with the same text that we used yesterday. Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10, whatever your hands find to do, do it with your might. And the New Living Translation says, whatever you do, do it well. A part of the reason why we're in such a hurry to do the things that are important in our real lives is because oftentimes we don't view it this way, but it really is. We want to abandon what we have to do to escape into alternate realities, and we want to escape and we want to feel pleasure. As I discussed before, the whole pleasure threshold thing, how easily gratified we are with these reels, with these TikTok videos. We have reels and whatnot, guys. Reels and I don't know, shorts on YouTube, stuff like that. And we have the culture of scrolling, and if something comes up that you don't like, you can always scroll up with the hope that something that feeds your interest, fancies, that something that you fancy comes up. And for most of us, especially millennials and Gen Zs and the subsequent generations, of course the generations below us, if we're left with a phone in an empty room, we would be able to scroll and be fulfilled. We would be gratified without maybe many things except food. Hunger would most likely be our chief complaint if we're locked in an empty room with maybe a bed. Yeah, a bed. Definitely a bed. And our phone, Wi-Fi. We don't even need a big screen. Just something that gives us access to this world. Social media has gotten to the point in many people's lives where it is the thing that we kiss good morning when we're easing into consciousness, and social media, the arms of social media, lulls us to bed. It rocks us to bed at night. It lulls us into realities that aren't our own and oftentimes don't accurately represent the people who portray content online. And so there is double deception with social media. Oftentimes through the content that we see, these lifestyles, these ideas, we compare ourselves because there is so much. There is someone who just seems to fit my demographic, who is doing the same thing I'm doing academically, who seems to look like me, who has the same goals like me. But the differences that I notice between ourselves, I compare myself to that person, and what does that do? Many people get disheartened, they feel discouraged, they feel like they're behind in life. So many negative feelings come along with mindless scrolling. Though social media has a place to be beneficial, mindless scrolling and uncontrolled, insidious ideas play a role in the formation of who we become. Now remember, I told you guys that one of the major roles that I came off social media is because my intrinsic goals, the goals that I had for Melissa, for who Melissa wants to be, the goals that should allow my actions to be coherent with who I believe I should be, were being forsaken. And one of the barriers to that alignment was social media. There are trendy moves, trendy music clips, trendy phrases, trendy lines of reasoning that seep through our minds very insidiously, and then we start to see ourselves acting them out. This is not, by the way, this has nothing to do with the person you want to be, the person I want to be. But here we are being formed and fashioned by hands that we place ourselves into without wanting them to play that function. But the truth is that inherently, that is what social media, that is what influencing is. Influencing is having ideas, ways of life, different things being seeded into your mind, and whether subconsciously, unconsciously, or even consciously, we adapt what we see. We have different avenues through which we intake things, and the truth is, garbage in, garbage out, child. And that's what I was realizing with myself. And so I came off social media for the whole 4 weeks that I was, the month of May, I was off social media. I think at the beginning I was posting first things first. I would go on, post the link, and then come off. And I think I was also, there might have been the last 2 weekends as well, I was on. I think so. I'm not sure, but for most weekdays, there was no weekday that I was like consuming information in May. And I want to challenge you to take stock of the things you're consuming and the time that you're spending on social media. What's the function? Life is passing you by. Time that you could allot to your goals is being squandered on a new dance, on having a giggle. To what end? And remember, if we are just using these things as ways to gratify ourselves, our goals can be so fulfilling and we can enjoy them. And so the substitution is really cheap, and I am prompting us today to replace mindless scrolling for intentional actions that will help us to fulfill our goals. No more cheap sources of dopamine. Cheap sources of dopamine should not be our primary source of feeling gratified. I'm not saying you can't scroll every now and then, but I am saying 70% scrolling, 50%. It shouldn't even be 50-50. I think 20-80 is crazy. 20-80 might be ideal. Maybe 30-70, 60-40 could even be healthy, but it's not supposed to predominantly take up our minds when that world isn't real. 2 instances. I don't know, you guys remember, there was a certain man that was a big social media influencer. All the women listened to him on how to keep their man, and actually he was his audience mainly women? I think so. And he also spoke to men about how to treat their women and so on and so forth. He was married, and we came to find out that he serially cheated on his wife. Social media is a construct. There's a fitness influencer. She just came up on my feed, and she showed an image of her body. Well, it was actually a video, but she had it photoshopped, and she showed the before Photoshop and after, and it just goes to show that we don't know if what we're seeing is actually real. And even if it is, as I said, there are benefits, but we need to be in control of why we go on social media, the time we spend on social media, and what we allow it to do to our minds. That's all for today, guys. I just want to encourage you to spend your time, such a valuable commodity, such a valuable resource, wisely. Spend it wisely. Alrighty, guys, see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Bye.